Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever video of the Real Trans YouTube channel. I am your host Geoff Exstrom and I'd like to thank you so much for joining me wherever you're watching from. Now, I'm a college student, as you might have taken a guess, but first before we go anywhere else, I want to tell you why I started this channel. I know probably a lot of people that know me are watching this first one especially, and they know me, I'm a big sports guy. If you check out my social media, it's all about sports. High school, college, professional. I want to be a play-by-play broadcaster long term. But the reason I want to start this YouTube channel is I wanted to take one of my passions that isn't sports, and that's movies. I've liked movies for a really, really long time. Gone with my parents. My parents are really big into movies, especially my mom, who's big into pop culture and all that. And we watch the Oscars every year. We kind of watch party, just fun stuff like that. And I've really wanted to delve into this movie business, something that's kind of stepped aside as I continued my sports passion. So this is kind of going to be my personal channel. I'm really, really excited what I want to do here. And well, speaking of that, what we are going to do here, we're going to talk about the Hollywood box office. I've noticed on a lot of YouTube channels that they just do movie reviews and all that, and I just don't want to be that. I don't want that to be the main content of my YouTube channel, and I've really noticed no one really else does this. I've researched and looked all over, and aside from a few websites, no one does a video version of analyzing the box office and whatnot, so I kind of want to do that, and this is what it's going to be about. So, let's get it rolling. And now, the box office results for May 31st through June 2nd. Coming in at number 1 is Godzilla, King of Monsters. It's the king of the box office, $49 million, a little below what they expected. But the film starring Kyle Chandler for Farmiga did bring in $130 million overseas. It was actually better. That result was better than the 2014 Godzilla version. At number 2 is Aladdin, starring Will Smith. It brought in $42 million. The live-action film did solid, but it did drop over 50% of its profits from last week in its opening weekend, but they still hold solid at number 2. At number 3 is Rocket Man, the biopic about Elton John, starring Taron Egerton and Jamie Bell. Hit well with audiences, it's gotten good reviews, and it made $25 million, more than it expected, as its budget was at $40 million, so they're going to make a pretty penny. Then, the biggest and most outstanding result of the week has got to go to Ma. The horror film starring Octavia Spencer brought in $18 million, and even though it might not be that big, its budget was $5 million. It's already brought in 3 times the amount of budget it had. It hit well with audiences, and with horror films being on and off so far, it was a good result for Ma, and it's going to hold solid. Then rounding out is number 5, the third film of this trilogy. It's John Wick 3 starring Keanu Reeves. It dropped down to $11 million after debuting a few weeks ago when it dethroned Avengers Endgame for the top dog at the box office. That rounds out the top 5 of this week, and now to my thoughts. First thought, Godzilla. They won the opening weekend with $49 million. It was expected to win the domestic box office, but I still think it disappointed. The advertisement, I want to say, was really weird. At first, near the beginning of the advertisement stage, they advertised it as kind of a serious, kind of darker Godzilla movie where it has to kind of defend its throne. Then all of a sudden it turned into a wacky, big bustin' action movie. The advertisements were weird near its release, so I think it was kind of awkward. Moviegoers still went to see it, but I still think it disappointed domestically. What's surprising is that when you compare it to the first Godzilla opening in 2014, that one actually debuted back in 2014. The Godzilla debuted at $93 million on its opening weekend, which is the biggest weekend of the year in 2014. But actually, even though it dropped down to $49 million this time around, this movie, King of Monsters, had more money on the foreign markets. Back in 2014, it was $103 million, while this time around, it was $130 million for the foreign markets. So, really interesting thing there. I still think it disappointed a little. It's still going to do solid and make money. It already has. It had around a $200 million budget, so it's going to make its money back, but a little disappointing in the domestic market. Second thought is Rocket Man and Ma both exceeded expectations. Rocket Man was expecting between 15 and 20 million. They got all the way up to 25 million, while Ma, I think, expected between 5 and 10, and they made 18. So vote below. Tell me in the comments if I should go see one of those movies. I want to see Rocket Man, but if you think I should go see Ma, go hit me up in the comments, or any other movies you think I should go see in this upcoming week. But both those movies exceeded expectations, and I think it still should do pretty solid this upcoming weekend. Now, let's preview this weekend. Alright, so this weekend, June 7th, we got a few big headliners this week. First, it's got to be Fox's last edition of the younger X-Men in Dark Phoenix. It's one of the most famous arcs of the X-Men comics, with Jean Grey combining with the Phoenix entity and becoming one. It's going to be really interesting. It's starring Sophia Turner, who plays Jean Grey, and you got James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, all making their last outs of these X-Men that Fox has announced. Or really, it's kind of been common sense. This will be the last edition of this kind of series of X-Men films, as Disney recently bought out Fox. So Disney will have those rights, and they plan to integrate the X-Men into the MCU pretty soon. It might be a few more years, but this will be the last outing for these actors and actresses for this X-Men series. Then behind that, The Secret Life of Pets 2, starring Harrison Ford, Patton Oswalt, and Kevin Hart. That one is going to be pretty big. It did really well at the first time around, and it's even expected to do even better second time around here on June 7th. And now, let's get into why I think, or what will happen this upcoming weekend. Alright, predictions. June 7th releases. First take. Secret Life of Pets 2 will do better than Dark Phoenix this weekend. Dark Phoenix, their advertising and social media campaigns have not hit audiences at all, and I really haven't noticed anything. I've seen a few commercials then and there. The social media presence is just not there for Dark Phoenix, and really it showed up in the predictions, what these film critics are predicting for it. It's expected to get probably around what Godzilla got this weekend, 45 to 50 million, but that would mark it as one of the lowest X-Men debuts in their cinematic history, almost as low as the first X-Men back in like 2000. So we'll see how it goes, but I think Secret Life of Pets 2 will do better, because it might not get as much as the film critics say they will. Secret Life of Pets is projected to get 70 to 90 million this weekend, but battling with Aladdin, who of course is up there, I think it might be on the lower end of that prediction. I still think they're going to beat Dark Phoenix, so I'm going to go with these predictions money-wise. We're going to go with Secret Life of Pets 2 debuting at $75 to $77 million at the box office opening. While Dark Phoenix, I'm going to say around 45 million. Sounds like a good number. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes above that. But I'm going to say a good staple number of 45 million. I just don't think it's been hyped up enough. I don't even know if, even with the boost of the Avengers and all that, it's hyped up the Marvel crowd. I don't even know if it'll get that big of a crowd, considering how it's the last outing for these characters and whatnot, so it doesn't really give much motivation to see how this ends out. And just with the social media advertising, just hasn't been there. And to add to the fact that X-Men Apocalypse, their last movie starring Oscar Isaac last time around back in 2016, I believe it was, just didn't do well. People didn't like it. So I think that momentum will eventually carry down to not having a good outing at this weekend's box office. Well, glad you decided to join with me all this way. It's been a fun first video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is an experimental YouTube channel. We're going to experiment with things, see what works. Tell me in the comments below whether or not you like this kind of format, or any suggestions, anything you want me to kind of differentiate and try something out. I'm going to try with at least one video a week, coming out around that Tuesday, Wednesday mark. And then soon, if it becomes that popular, we'll start doing some pop culture or just movie discussion videos. So let me know about what topics and stuff you'd like me to talk about and whatnot. And as always, hit a like and subscribe. This has been Real Trends with Geoff Exstrom. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. And until next time, see you later.